Batman! Oh, hi. How you doing? Just rocking out to one of my favorite themes. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to Classics with Courtney, and today we are going to be tackling Batman the movie. Released in 1966, it stars Adam West as the Caped Crusader, Burt Ward as the Boy Wonder. Then we got, for the villain, Cesar Romero as the Joker, Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, Burgess Meredith as the Penguin, and replacing Julie Newmar, we have Lee Merriweather as the Catwoman. When Batman and Robin get a tip that Commodore Schmidlab is in danger aboard his yacht, they launch a rescue mission. But the tip is set up by four of the most powerful villains ever, who seek to defeat the dynamic duo once and for all. Armed with a dehydrator that can turn humans into dust, the fearsome foursome intends to take over the world. Can the Caped Crusaders use their high-flying heroism and groovy gadgetry to declaw Catwoman, ice the Penguin, upstage the Joker, and stump the Riddler in time? Tune in next time to find out. Boy, that was fun. Okay, so full disclosure, I love Batman. I'm not talking just Adam West Batman. As a kid, I grew up with the 1989 Batman starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, and also grew up with Batman Forever starring Val Kilmer as the Caped Crusader and Chris O'Donnell as the Boy Wonder, if you will. Or in this case, it was just probably Robin because he was just too old to be Boy Wonder. So, I have always loved Batman. He is my favorite hero. He's the only hero I grew up with. It wasn't until my brother started getting older, he started watching movies like Spider-Man, Superman, the Green Lantern, the Hulk, all this. But basically, as kids, this is all we grew up with was Batman. The 1966 movie was not incorporated into our lives until I was probably around my early teens, maybe not even the teens years. We had a local Blockbuster, and it was on sale VHS, and my dad picked it up for my brother at the time. So this was incorporated later into my life, but it was still something we watched every so often. So I'm going to say right off the bat, I know that the 1960s Batman is not everyone's favorite. Although I do know it's gotten a cult following. A lot of people do appreciate it for what it was for its time. But I know that a lot of people like the darker Batman and therefore do not hold a high regard for this kind of film. Or the show, for that matter. But that's okay. I love hearing everybody's opinions. Personally, my favorite subscriber, or not subscriber, I'm subscribed to him, LaserDude99, although I think right now he's just called LaserDude. He did a series called the Batman Movie Bash. Highly recommend. I love his videos. Really cool guy. But, anywho, but yes, I do love Batman. But let's talk about this film in general, shall we? It's quite a ride. It's something else, definitely. And considering that Lee Merriweather's birthday was just yesterday, it seems only appropriate to talk about this movie. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So let's talk about the characters and the portrayals of the actors, shall we? We'll start with the one and only Batman. Adam West, in my opinion, was a very good Batman for his time. Adam West, in my opinion, is very attractive, and I love his voice. There's some actors that just had a really good voice. The few that come to mind is Vincent Price and George Sanders, and I think Adam West also had a decent voice. But he also looked good in the bat suit, and I love how crazy the film and the series are, but yet he plays it so straight, which I think is what part of the charm is. As part of the series, one of my favorite moments of him is when Commissioner Gordon calls Batman, but then Robin answers the other phone, and it turns out to be Chief O'Hara. and it's about Mr. Freeze wanting a whole bunch of money or something. So they're talking about putting both phones together. So Adam West is going, pretend to be Batman, pretend to be Bruce Wayne, back, forth, back, back, forth. And it's on YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's hilarious, and he plays it so beautifully. I just really like it. Um, but I do think he makes a really good Batman for his time. Um, for this movie in particular, I do love how dramatic he gets for certain scenes. Um, or he's, like he's kidnapped by the villains, and he's like, "I'll kill you all," and "Where's Miss Kitka?" and all that. And it's just, I don't know, just how he delivers those lines is hilarious. And oh my gosh, can we talk about the bomb scene? Like, can we just talk about the fact that when he takes the bomb into the bar, like he's taking it out of the bar, he's, quick, everybody, run for your lives, and everybody's screaming and running into the streets. But here he runs into the street afterwards, and there's a woman with a carriage with a baby, and she's just acting, oh, okay, he's just got a bomb, it's fine. And then he's walking by two nuns, don't even blink, they're just walking towards him, and he has to run away. Then there's a marching band, he runs away from them. I'm thinking, you people realize he's carrying a bomb, what are you doing? And then, of course, you get that comedic line where some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. That's the funny thing about this movie. There's a lot of memorable moments and dialogue that you just can't forget. And whether you like the film or not, most people will remember the bomb scene, which ironically was what Laser Dude mentioned, that said that he got a laugh at because he didn't care for this film, but he liked that moment. So, case in point. Okay, so I think Adam West and Batman are out of the way. Let's talk about Burt Ward. Um, Personally, I think he made a good Robin. Aside from the animated series, which I will admit I have not really watched. I've seen a couple episodes here and there, and a couple of the films, but I've never actually seen the animated show in its entirety. But from what I've seen of Robin, he does a decent job. And if we're comparing movies, say compare this one to Chris O'Donnell, Burt Ward to me is better because he actually seems like he's a teenage kid, whereas Chris O'Donnell looked like he was in his 20s and could easily live on his own. So I think Burt Ward did a good job, and I personally love, like, holy sardine. What else? Just his holy lines, everything he says, holy this, holy that. I get a kick out of that. I do. I get a kick out of that. Okay, so I guess let's talk about the villains. I want to talk about Cesar Romero for a second. Cesar Romero, I have seen in a couple movies from the 40s. He's a big, like, posh actor, real decent actor. I especially love him when he did movies with Shirley Temple, which I believe he was in The Little Princess, and he was also in, oh my gosh, I can't, Wee Willie Winky, I believe is what the other one was. But he kind of had a signature look. He had a mustache. And for those who know, for those who don't know, he refused to shave his mustache. He absolutely refused. So when he did the Joker, they really had to cake on the makeup. The sad thing is, you can still see it. That's the problem. If you don't see it coming, then it doesn't matter. I never noticed until it was brought up to me. Once I found out about the mustache, I could never unsee it. That's the problem when it comes to the mustache. But I don't know. I don't mind it. It's Cesar Romero. I love him as the Joker. He's fun. He's crazy. But I don't know. I really like him as the Joker. And it's not like, oh my gosh, he did a better job than Jack Nicholson. Like, no, Jack Nicholson did a phenomenal job. But I don't know. I really love Cesar Romero. I think for his time, he did an amazing job. The next I want to talk about is Catwoman, played by Lee Merriweather. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. I'm so sorry. Probably because I've been away from the camera for a while. I'm so sorry. Okay, so Lee Merriweather. I'm not a fan. Okay, and my apologies to Lee Merriweather. Okay, it's not that she did a bad job. She didn't. She did a really, really, really good job. The problem is I'm biased to Julie Newmar. Julie Newmar had that perfect equality of sexy but adorable. Like, oh my gosh, her and Adam West were just so cute. But Lee Merriweather has no chemistry with Batman, in my opinion, or Adam West. And I think that's what Catwoman needs. Catwoman is a femme fatale, not crime fighter. What do you call it? I mean, she's a villain, but in other adaptations, she's more of an anti-villain, like Batman Returns, or even this new Batman, the Batman 2022. She does bad things, but yet she can still do good things. And this Catwoman doesn't really do that. And she's just pure evil, I think. And I mean, I will admit, she looks good in the suit, and she definitely brings in something that none of the other Catwomans do, which is that yowling she does at one point. Actually, no, several points. Just like Eartha Kitt would bring her signature purring into it, which she had a really great purr, really great. But I still prefer Julie Newmar. And I'm bummed that she couldn't do this role. But for a secondary choice, I do think they made an okay choice. Like I said, she does good with what she's given. She definitely brings a cat, so that's cool. I like seeing a cat woman that has a kitty cat with her sometimes. So I do like that. But I don't know. She just wasn't really my favorite. Let's talk about the Penguin now, played by Burgess Meredith. I still find it hilarious that this guy did Of Men and Mice. He did that, and then later would do the Rocky series, which great series, by the way. But then he does this in between. You know, it's like Burgess Meredith is the Penguin. It's so funny to me. And I will admit, he's probably the best Penguin, in my opinion. I did not care for Danny DeVito as the Penguin. But then again, that movie was just really dark in many places, so I just, eh. But Burgess Meredith, in my opinion, had a great, and him smoking, which, if I have this correctly, the smoking thing was something that he came up with because he didn't smoke. But the Penguin smoked, I guess. So when he smoked, he would do that in order to hide the cough or something like that. I forget. But I thought it was really clever, and it worked for his character. And I don't know. I do like the Penguin. He's not my favorite out of the villains. But I think he was the perfect Penguin. But now let's talk about my ultimate favorite. I saved the best for last. Frank Gorshin as the Riddler. Guys, I absolutely love Frank Gorshin. He is awesome. I love how crazy he gets, and I love that little laugh he does. He's just so funny and fun, and my gosh, if I had to choose which of the villains to team up with in this film, it would be a toss between the Joker and the Riddler, because both of them are my absolute favorites. And they're just so cool, in my opinion. And yeah, I just love Frank Gorshin. And I'm going to bring up one of the newer ones again, but he's definitely better, in my opinion, than Jim Carrey. In fact, I think Jim Carrey took a lot from Frank Gorshin, but of course there's a lot of like Jim Carrey elements that he incorporated in there too. So, but yeah, I prefer Frank Gorshin. He's awesome. I love him, and he's just so cool. And I don't know what else to say about that. So, kind of a last minute thought, but I don't know. Should I talk about the gadgets? I mean, for its time, I think the gadgets were fine. I definitely think that the Batman films have evolved over the years with the gadgets, and they've gotten better and better. Um, but a lot of the gadgets here are kind of like funny gadgets, like when the shark is on Adam West, and he's like, "Hand me down the bat repellent bat spray," or shark repellent bat spray. I'm sorry, it doesn't repel bats; it repels sharks. My bad. Um, And he later, he's stuck on a buoy with Robin. It's magnetic and it's stuck to their belts, which I have to admit, I love the fact how they're just stuck there. They just don't think to take their belts off. They're just stuck there. But here he takes this detector kind of thing that's supposed to ward off like missiles or something. And because the villains are underwater, but they're shooting missiles to try and kill the dynamic duo. And he keeps like wearing this thing, and it keeps expanding, taking away the rockets and stuff. Um, which I have to admit, that's one of my favorite parts where he's like, "Confound it, the batteries are dead." Another great line. I love it. But aside from the gadgets, one of my favorite things that they use in here is, of course, the Batmobile, which is a great car, which I believe was used in the 1959 Debbie Reynolds film, Something About a Kiss, with Glenn Ford. It started with a kiss, I believe is what it's called. Oh yeah, I'm on a roll today. And I also love the Bat boat. That is another one of my favorites. I'm not too crazy about the Bat helicopter. It's fine, but aside from that, I love the Bat cave. I love how clean it is. I love how bright it is. I love all the computer gadgets and stuff. I always wanted the computer where Bat or Robin is typing in the information where they're trying to find the buoy. Um, I love the overall like look of everything, and like I said, the gadgets are cool. They're fine for what they were. I guess the only other thing I could discuss is the humor, the overall humor of the movie, and like I said, it's been sprinkled throughout this review, but I love it. I forget, but just now remembered the part where the villains are trying to get all the world leaders, and they're showing everybody speaking in their language. But of course, later it turns out it's a whole different thing. Like they bring the people back, but they're switched. Like the voices are switched to the people, which I have heard someone say before that it's kind of scary to do it that way. Which okay, I get it, but at the same time, if you look at it just for what it is funny. Um, and like I said, a lot of the humor for me is really funny, and I don't know how much, what else to say about it. I don't want to keep going on a whole roll here, but I really enjoy what the film gives. Um, it's definitely different from other films, like Batman films. Like I said in the beginning, not many people like this movie because of how campy and corny it is. Now, you could still get some humor from other Batman films, but it's not all around funny, so to speak. I mean, I think Batman Forever and Batman and Robin really are the modern day 60s Batman. But what's funny to me is I can deal with Batman Forever. I hated Batman and Robin. Absolutely hated it. One of the worst movies ever, both Batman and regular film. It's terrible. But, yeah, I think you have to be in the right mindset to watch the show and watch this film. It's for what it is, it's a really good movie, and the show is also a lot of fun. I also want to bring up real quick that there is this interview with Adam West, Julie Newmar, Burt Ward, and I think Cesar Romero. I don't believe Frank Gorshin or Burgess Meredith were there, but I can't be 100%. And I believe it's on YouTube. But they were talking about the 1989 Batman. And at that time, they were all saying how dark it was. And they all prefer this version. And on one hand, you can look at it and go, oh, they're just biased. But at the same time, they grew up in a different era. They grew up in a different time. They made films from a different time. So movies that were exploring darker elements and scarier themes was not the same thing as what these guys went through. Kind of going off of Batman for a second, but it's the same principle as the actor. I can't remember who his name is, but he did a movie with Gene Tierney called Heaven Can Wait, I believe. And that actor would go on to do a film in the 80s called Trading Places with Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, in that film, he's supposed to say the F word, and he does. But story has it he was uncomfortable saying that word because he worked in Hollywood where you didn't use language like that. It's the same principle here. When you're doing a film or you're used to doing something that is fun but not graphic, and then here comes this thing that tells you, hey, this is graphic and whatever, they may not like it. And to me, that shows how they were. And to me, I give a lot of respect for them people. Actually, Greer Garson was the same way. She did a lot of great movies in her time, and there's an actual interview with people asking her why she's not making any films. And she said because the films now are being more graphic, they're more sexual, and I don't really like that. And I love that because it's refreshing. Most people anymore want to see blood, violence, gore, sex on the screen. And seeing these older actors portray how they felt when it came to something more modern but more darker, and how they were ironically against it, to me, I have a lot of respect for those people. And I know people are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. But I love that. I definitely have a lot of respect for those type of actors. I also wanted to give a shout out to when Adam West did an episode of the Batman animated series called The Gray Ghost. Absolutely amazing performance in that episode. It's only 20 minutes long. If you can get your hands on it, I highly recommend you watch it. It hits close to Adam West the person. Which if you haven't read his book, I highly recommend that as well. With him playing Batman, he was great, but it also typecasted him, and in a way, it ruined his career, but at the same time, it didn't. So, it's definitely something that you could maybe get into. Like I said, I highly recommend the book. In fact, I just ordered it. So, yeah, so I think that is about it for this little movie review. Little review. It's a pretty long video. I did not expect it to be this long. I hope you guys have reached it to the end. If not, I totally understand. I definitely rambled a lot. But I enjoy this movie. I hope you guys do. And leave me down in the comments below what you love about the show and what you love about the movie. What's your favorite Batman? Do you like this version or do you prefer your darker versions? Let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to talk to you guys about it. And I will see you guys in my next Classics with Courtney video. Until then, tune in next time, and I will see you guys later. Same bat time, same bat channel. Except it's not a bat channel. Anyway, goodbye. Have a great and wonderful day.